Warning, this podcast contains explicit sexual language and should only be listened to at work if you're looking for an excuse to connect with your HR representative. Additionally, all mentions of the word women include cis and trans women. For my friends who are genderqueer, gender fluid, figuring it out, anything in between, and feel like this conversation is also important for you, you are welcome here.
Will you open up with me? These pages, they can feed your innermost desires. Do you feel inspired? Are you getting what you need? Are you coming curiously? A secret safe with me. And here you can simply be yourself. Sweet romance. Come on in, come on in, come on.
Hi, y'all. This is Jace, she, they, and you found Jace Reads Romance, a community dedicated to empowering women about sex and sexuality through the reading of romance novels. It is book club day! Yay! Thank you for your patience for our book club. We had some life and all over us. So From Bad to Cursed by Lana Harper is here today. And I have an incredible guest whose name you have heard on this podcast before. Would you like to introduce yourself officially, since unofficially we feel like we know you?
I kind of feel like I should lay out some kind of like disclaimer. I promise I am not as bad as I am described. I'm going to need to find out what's been said about me here later. I didn't introduce myself. Hi, I'm Devon. I'm Devon. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So Devon is a newer romance reader, a reluctantly dragged into the romance sphere reader.
Yes.
But was voluntold or volunteered?
No, it was a very much voluntold. Very much voluntold.
If y'all don't know, because you haven't listened, maybe this is your first time with Jace Reads Romance. Devon is Sephie, our producer, one of her best friends. So they are very close.
And she's sitting right next to me, which means I can attack her and she can't talk back. So
she has to be silent. It's great.
I love
But when we talked about what a new romance reader would want to bring to the table of book club, especially witchy books, romance books, I believe, Devon, that's been your gateway drug into the romance genre.
Very much so.
Yeah. I'm going to ask for your official journey in a second, but From Bad to Cursed was quite literally the first email back of this one. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I read, if you've been with me, Jace, for the whole time I've been here, it was probably one of the first books I ever posted about in a reading roundup. I read Payback's a Witch, the first book in this series, last October. Yeah, almost a year ago. So this is book number 2 in the series. Can I give a light, when we get to the bookish part, I'll give a light description of what happened in book 1 so you're not as confused. But my question, do you think you could read From Bad to Cursed without having read Payback's a Witch?
Oh, absolutely. Like I actually went into this thinking that was the first book. I didn't know until about, I don't know, a little ways through. I was like, oh, wait, they're referencing something that I know I didn't read. And so I did some research because I thought, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to stop and then I'll, start where I'm supposed to. But everything I read said, no, you can actually read it as a standalone if you're able to infer just a couple little things.
There are a few relationships that they talk about that were established beforehand, but those characters don't play a main role here, nor do, you know what, I'll get to it later. We'll get to it later. Devon, tell us about who you were as a reader before discovering romance novels, or really appreciating romance novels.
Okay, so I've had a reading journey. And to be fair, when I was in 5th grade with all the rest of the 5th grade girls, we were all reading, the very graphic romance novels, and we would pass them around by folding the corner and, whoa, we read the sexy parts, right? Like Jackie Collins and stuff. But after that, I kind of went into a horror phase, and I read a lot of Stephen King. And I don't know, kind of eclectic. Like I loved Sweet Valley High and things like that. But then as I got older, it got a little bit more defined. I went through a phase where I was reading everything I could find on cannibalism and extreme situations. So I know.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. That was not what I was expecting you to say. Oh my God.
I did. I found everything you could read about it. And I've read every single book about this that you can find. And it's usually stuff about like Arctic exploration, and they get stuck in the ice and they end up having to eat each other. And so I don't know why I went through this thing, but I went through this thing. And it got to the point where my mother sent me a book called, I think it's called Contingency Cannibalism, and it has recipes and stuff. I think it's supposed to be a joke. I know, right? I think it's supposed to be a joke. I'm not dead certain though, so don't quote me. Anyway, after that, I don't know. I just kind of flitted around here and there. But recently, my favorite genre is post-apocalyptic or dystopian.
Yeah.
I love those. I'll take young adult, anything. I love that genre. And a lot more of those have come out recently, so that's nice. I also like horror and like suspense kind of stuff. Like I know it's kind of cliche, but I really enjoyed Gone Girl. Like when I was done with it, I threw the book at the wall, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, Gone Girl!" But no, like I loved it.
Good.
And so yes, and I don't even remember how I got to the witch fiction. I don't even know how I got there.
Honestly, cannibalism, I'm not surprised.
Well, I do.
I'm more surprised it's not dark romance, but I feel like witches are fine. I was like, witches are also a very logical path from cannibalism.
Well, that was a long time. Like I'm quite old, right? I am Gen X, baby Gen X, but
I love it.
Anyway, but and so so I had been looking for some dystopian stuff. I'm not finding anything, blah blah. But then I think kind of on a whim. Oh no, I know how it happened. I saw a book, I think it was on TikTok that I saw
Probably.
And I want to say it was cozy fiction. And I thought, oh, cozy fiction sounds nice. I have a bit of a complicated life. Let's try some cozy fiction, right? Like low stress, low, all that. And I freaking fell in love with this book, which was so crazy because I hate that stuff. I hate it. Like I hate Lifetime movies. I hate all that stuff. But it was this book about, a girl who lives in a seaside, well, she doesn't live in the cafe, but she runs a seaside cafe. And she has this little magic power on the side. And that's not much of the story, but it was part of the story.
Yeah.
And it was so cozy and warm and lovely. I thought, oh, I need more of this. And so I kind of just ended up with the witchy cozy fiction, of which there is a lot.
So much.
And then in searching, I was obsessed for a hot minute there. And so I ended up with From Bad to Cursed, even though it's not cozy, it's more of like,
it's witch.
Yeah, it's definitely witch. But
it's like small town adventure witch.
Yes. Yeah. And I just thought it was so excellently written that I really liked him. So that's why I was like, we need to do this one.
This is the one that hooked me. I love that. Are you still in your witchy cozy read phase?
Yes. I'm reading some stuff. I think it's TJ Kingfisher right now. And yeah, I'm really enjoying that. It's like a wizard's guide to defensive baking or something. It's good. I like it.
That is a great title.
Yeah. So all that kind of cozy stuff. I'm still kind of into it. Some of the witches, like if I get a good new witch one, I'll definitely read it. So
yes. Okay. Sure. I love that. Question, because we're going to talk about it. Did any of the books that you read before you got into your romance world contain explicit sex?
Holy hell, yes. Am I allowed to cuss?
All the fucking time.
Okay, that's great. Because do I get to tell this story, though, is the question.
Yes.
Our history. Okay, good. Okay, I'm gesturing to my best friend over here. She and I have a history. We have a long history. And this long history goes back over, 10 years now, where we would write smut together. We wrote so much sex together. So much. All
Would
kinds
you
of
like
sex.
would you like to explain where and what kind of sex you wrote together?
Yeah, so we were both part of a fandom at the time. And so, as you do as fangirls, if you have any kind of writing inclination whatsoever, you write fanfic about the fandom stuff. And yeah, we had lots and lots of sex that we wrote.
So you are not only a horror cannibalism human, but also a fanfic girly.
Yes.
And y'all, I just want to like put that out there that you don't have to be one thing. You can contain multitudes.
Exactly. Cannibalism. But yeah, she and I wrote a ton of that kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny too to consider because she was with me when I was kind of transitioning out of my religious life. And I was a very, very hardcore religious person for a long time. And so like 15 years ago, me would be like, oh my God, you wrote what? He did what with his mouth? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, definitely not a stranger to it.
Definitely not a stranger. Amazing. Oh, I love that. Okay, so the actual reason we're here is to talk about From Bad to Cursed by Lana Harper. As we said, this is the second book in the Witches of Thistle Grove series. There are now 5 books, and I will be honest, guess what I'm about to say, Sephie? I have them all.
Are they in the TBR pile?
No, I read the rest of them are. The rest of them are back there. Witchy thing. I mean, I have this weird bookish belief that if you own the first book in a series, the rest of the books don't count as separate books. You own one book.
True.
You own one series. It's basically one book, and it doesn't count.
That is accepted wisdom, I believe. Is it not?
It is completely accepted wisdom.
If it's not, it should be.
It is completely accepted in my world that if you were on a book buying ban and the last book in a series comes out, it's not breaking your book buying ban. You already own the book. You're just bringing it into your home now.
Right, exactly. This is true. This is how this works.
100%. Okay. So the basic premise of this story is I'm gonna try. From Payback's a Witch, we are introduced to this town called Thistle Grove, which is a magical town. There's a magical lake where their power stems from. There are 4 magical families, and there are different magics that each family is associated with. In the first book, they have this contest amongst the 4 families, really kind of 3 families, to get this victory wreath, which bestows that family with a little extra something. And for the last 100 or so years, one jackass of a family has kept winning the wreath. So all the other 3 team up to win it back from them. Because 100 years ago, they won the wreath and they were just kind of bragging. In the last decade or so, when they win the wreath, they use the extra boost of power to basically fuck over the rest of the families. There's also a whole revenge plot against a cheating ex situation. But what you need to know coming out of that is they do win. They do thwart the plans of that jackass of a family to get the wreath. And Emmy Harlow, who is the point of view character, ends up with Talia. They share an ex, they're Eskimo sisters, and they get together. So queer story, book 1. Love it. Love it.
Love it so hard.
Love it so hard. This book is about Talia's little sister, Isadora, and Rowan, who was one of the other people involved in the contest in that team up. Tropes in this book are enemies to lovers. Isadora and Rowan have bad blood. And then do you want to take the plot of, because I just did Payback. Do you want to take the plot of this book?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the lead up of this book is that they are like the whole town is kind of assembled and they are all meeting together to choose a May Queen. That's actually one thing as a side note. This is something I really enjoy about these books is that they are very, very feminist forward, right? The leaders of the town are women. It's all matrilineal, and I love that. And so when they're choosing this May Queen, the May Queen is the main figure, and she just has like this dude that she picks to be the Green Man. Anyway, I thought that was cool, and nobody seems to have a problem with it in the town, so this is great.
Right.
And so they're all gathered together, and one of the family who deals with magic that has to do with plants and living things and things like that, she's casting her spells to be the May Queen, and all of a sudden there's this huge spell that takes out half of the orchard where everybody is. They managed to stop it, but of the 4 families, there's the Avramov family, which is the family who deals with necromancy and like that, the darker, like summoning demons and things like that. That's their family's magic. And then the Thorn family is the family that deals with the green magic, with the life and plants and flowers and things like that. And then there is the Harlow family, which actually has the history part of it, but you have to read the first one for a lot of history on that.
They don't play a big role in this one.
Yeah, they really don't.
It's okay.
And then the 4th family is the Asshole family, which is the Blackmores, and their magic is kind of more in like financial realm.
I think it's like I think it's illusion.
Illusion, is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay, see,
it's illusions, and they use the illusions to trick normies. I do like that they say normies.
Yes, yeah.
Into coming to their tourist destination. So they make it super kitschy.
Like I was always reminded. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's right.
I was always reminded of like Circus in Las Vegas. Not Circus. What is that
Cirque
called?
du Soleil?
No, what's the castle one in Las Vegas? What's that called?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I know exactly. Yes, it's where Thunder from Down Under is. Yes, I do. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. And so I should probably Google that, or, hey, why don't you Google that? And I always got the impression it was kind of like that, like kind of kitschy and things like that.
It is. It's not Camelot, but it is something dumb like that. Theirs is based off Camelot because they claim their ancestor is Morgan Le Fay. Yeah. But so anyway, so yeah.
I took a huge side quest there. Sorry. Anyway, so back to the story. Half of
we never go on tangents.
Okay, well that's good to know because I have been on a long.
No, that's lies. We tangent all the time.
Oh, that's
our entire discussions are tangents.
Oh, it's called Excalibur.
Thank you.
That's what okay. Yeah. Anyway, and so they're looking at this death in the orchard, and they're like, "Oh, wait, hey, Death family, you're in charge of death stuff, so it must have been you, right?" And so what they end up doing to try to figure out what's happening here is that they pair main character Isadora with other main character Rowan Thorne. They are they're what they call the scions of the family, which I had to look up because I thought I was like, that's a
only
key,
Rowan
right?
is. Isadora is not. Right, she's the second.
She's replaced because there was a conflict of interest with Talia and Emmy. So
exactly,
they have to work together. Oh no, but there's this whole back history where Rowan is this amazing vet and he works with animals, and Isadora wanted to volunteer, and so she volunteered at the shelter, and she kept getting in trouble because she wasn't doing things exactly the way Rowan wanted it, and so she like hexed him with squirrels everywhere.
I love that.
There were squirrels everywhere.
She hexed him with she haunted him with these demonic squirrel things because he's afraid of squirrels.
Right. So
it's against the rules to hex. It is. Right. It's against the rules to hex. But it's not like the squirrels were hurting him.
Exactly.
They were just the shit out of him.
Just scaring him. So she didn't cross any bad lines or anything. But so obviously the setup is they absolutely freaking hate each other. But now they're paired together. Oh no, how are we going to do this? And this is one issue I did have with the book. I felt it kind of slipped from enemies to lovers to, oh, hey, maybe you're not that bad because look at your hands. Your hands are really nice. Like that kind of thing. I felt like it went a little bit quick there. When they're at the bar, when they're first meeting up.
So I highlighted the conversation about his freckles.
Freckles, yes. And Rowan, since this is one of the themes that we were looking for. He is a Black man, and his family is historically Black as well. So
they go into that a little bit more and talk about their. I really liked that in this book they talked about it. So this town, these witchy humans, the town was founded by 4 witchy ancestors. And Alistair is the Thorn man, but he married a Black woman. So he was white. his wife was black, and everyone kind of intermingles and has been mixed race or identifies as black or biracial or whatever. And they state it very clearly here. And even though in the Aramovs,
Aramovs, I think, yeah.
Nope. In my brain it's Aramov because I like it better, but it's Avramov. Is Issa, as her nickname is, talks about how while they're Russian, they have a history. Their family tree includes East Asian as well, and other people of color. So while she herself is white, she's a redhead. Many of her cousins are people of color. And it was really interesting in some ways where they brought that in, and what I liked about it is Lana Harper is not a person of color. She is a white author, and the main blah blah blah. The main character is not a person of color. And so while they do have conversations that address Rowan's experience in vet school in Virginia and also as a black man in America, in her point of view, she says, I will never understand it. And then Lana Harper did not try to give us the feeling or pretend to know what it's like as a person of color. And I appreciated that.
I thought that was, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I thought that was really, oh, sorry.
Interrupt me constantly. Please.
I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well, because I feel like that's a really good way to be aware that this is an issue and not trying to downplay it or ignore it. I thought that was very brave of her, because I know I feel like a lot of authors really would probably have shied away with that, even if they had chosen to have a person of color as a main character. And I really enjoyed that. And I actually really enjoyed the fact that the whole town is like that. Like Issa has a cousin who's Japanese, and everybody is also, in, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people who are on in the LGBT.
So queer.
Exactly.
So queer.
And what I love about it is that nobody gives a second thought to it. It just is. And I think that's really great.
There was a moment toward the end where they were talking about one of these rituals. So they have these rituals leading up to May Day. The first one was the one where the bad curse happens. And then there are other big rituals that they have leading up to May Day and Beltane. And one of them, there are two groups, and the way that it's written is, and all the female identifying witches go here, and all the male identifying witches go there. And I had no idea what people who don't identify as either would do, but I appreciated that it wasn't the women and the men. And I do wonder if you don't identify as either or both, like, do you just get to choose, especially if you're doing a ritual that has that kind of focus on masculine, feminine energies coming together. That we didn't get that far into it, but just the language used around that, I appreciated. I heard it and I went, oh, that's so great. Like, that way no one's excluded. It's not the women or the men. It's how you identify, which is as it should be.
Absolutely. I thought that was very important as well. I mean, of course, and everybody says this a lot, that representation really does matter. And I feel like this is it's kind of a good little corner to find yourself in, maybe, with the witchy fiction. And hey, there's a world beyond where we have all these crazy prejudices and all these crazy blah, blah, blah. It can exist. And maybe that is in that kind of witchy fantasy world, at least for now.
Yeah. In the book Black Love Matters, which is a collection of essays, if you haven't heard me talk about it, edited by Jessica Price, one of the essays is about how, in order to have stories of Black love, often romance authors need to create worlds where racism doesn't have to exist, like their own separate, either insular communities or made up countries where the white supremacist regime that this world kind of really, especially the Western world, is created from, doesn't doesn't have a hold or isn't the focus, so that the focus can be instead on a love story rather than we're oppressed by this horrible white supremacist regime.
Right.
Which
and that's
I think,
another thing. Oh,
yeah. Well, I was like, it's the same thing for, I think, this group of humans who are, number one, witches, when we live in the United States where Christianity has its own history with Wicca and people who do not practice Christianity in general, and also queer humans. If I found that also in the book, The Holiday Trap, where when they were transplanted to New Orleans, it was this small group of humans who had formed their own queer community. And so the exploration or the pressure of what does it mean to be queer didn't exist. Everyone was queer. Everyone was welcoming. Everyone was part of that because it was separate from the community at large and that system of oppression for people who are different.
Right, absolutely. And I think that but the fact that he is Black is also not a plot device, right? And so we don't, oh, well, we're going after him because, you know, they're not using his race as a plot device, which I thought was amazing. There is a bit of prejudice in the story, but it's just between the families. There's
blood between
right,
the
the Thorns are oh so goody and stuff like that. But it's just that kind of silly stuff. So
it's that old blood because we did this and then we backfire. Then you escalated and we got mad, and very much that the Romeo and Juliet, two households, they're both alike in dignity, and then they fuck each other up.
Right. That's funny. And they are like, it talks about, like, you know, they have these references all the way through that, oh, well, this cousin was with this family and these guys are together. And yeah, so it's good. Lots of fucking going on in Thistle Grove.
Lots of fucking going on.
In fact, I feel like that should be the title of this. Lots of fucking going on in Thistle Grove.
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something sassy right now. This book, maybe spice level 1 or 1.5 or 1.5.
Okay, well, I'm showing my ancient Christianity. So yeah, I thought it was kind of spicy myself, but you know, I mean, it could have been a lot spicier. It could have been a lot spicier. You're right.
I mean, it could have been a lot spicier. And I remember that also. I will say I feel like there's more description in this book than there was in Payback's a Witch. And maybe she gets spicier as she goes. Again, there are 5 books now. This is book number 2. But there's only one actual... we don't get interrupted sex scene.
Yes, there were 2 prior and then 1 actual payoff.
There's 1 make out, 1 we're trying to get it on, and then 1 no one interrupts us, and that's it.
Yep.
And to be, oh God, I'm such a bitch. But what did I? Oh yeah, it was like a page and a half. The actual sex scene, I was like, it's like a page and a half.
I highlighted all of this on my Kindle app just to find out it didn't keep my highlights. I'm like, wait a minute.
Saddest thing ever. Do you need a page? Because I have pages for you.
Well, yeah, if you've got it, then I'll get there.
Okay, Pulled Me Into a Kiss, 258 is the actual sex scene.
258. Okay, I'm getting there. 258. Well, okay, my Kindle app is now being stupid. So I'm just going to scroll till I get to 258. I'm almost there.
Here's one of my notes. We're diving right into the sex scenes right now.
Okay, let's do it.
This is one of my pet peeves. When y'all wait until you're actually about to have sex to be like, shit, I don't have a condom.
Yes,
you know when you could have planned or even said I don't have a condom? When you created this magically beautiful moment in the hot springs that you rented for you and your love interest from the beginning.
So like they weren't going to get it on, right?
Like, exactly. Like they weren't going to get it on. Is it like, oh, I'll wear my granny panties so we don't have sex and then we do? Like, oh, I won't have a condom, like, because we're definitely not going to have sex and then you do. No, you also could have been like, hey, just to let you know, I don't have one. Not, oh, I'm about to put it in you. I don't have a condom.
Right.
And number two, Then they just soak in the hot tub. I'm like, you didn't wear a condom. Where's the cum going? In the hot spring.
I did not think about it that directly, but this is true. This is one of his family sources of income here.
No, it's a secret thing. It's just for the this is where like, your family goes to the hot springs. Like I don't know if it magically sanitizes itself, but you just have like your cum is dripping out of her.
Magic spermicide available from the Thorne family.
I think we killed Sephie.
You know what though? Well, I don't know if that would fall under their magic or the Avramov magic, because if you want to kill sperm, that would be death magic. But filling with life, I don't know. I
don't know, but it just means like number one, and they don't have sex in the water. Good job, because that's always terrible.
Oh my gosh!
But, like, ew. You're just it gave me the ick factor. Also was the we came within breathless seconds of each other.
I know, right?
I'm like, okay. Did you though?
Just a second. Okay, so actually my Kindle pages are not the same as yours, so I am trying to find it. No, it's totally fine. I thought it was, but they're not. It's okay. I'm getting there. One thing I did not love, and I will
tell me.
Okay, so, wait, I don't have a condom. It's okay, I'm on the pill. Okay, but as much as we have decided that this guy is like a wildlife champion or whatever it is they call him every time they say his name, right? I don't feel like you want to be bareback in this guy, just in case.
No, you don't know. I'm good if you are, and I haven't been sleeping with anyone else. Okay, but like, since when?
Since when? Exactly.
You've been flirting for a week, like maybe 2 weeks at this point, because there's been some, magic induced comas. Yep. So it's, and then it ends with, I haven't been sleeping with anyone else, so we're safe. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
So anybody who has not, now look, this is something I would have needed to know as a young person transitioning out of Christianity. You don't want to do that. Like, that could be scary.
Y'all, use a fucking condom.
It can be
use a condom. Even if you're on the pill, you don't know where that penis has been. Mm-hmm. You don't know. You don't know what could be creeping all up in there. Hygiene. It's so important. The pill is great if you don't want to get pregnant, but there are still STDs that will fuck up your day.
Oh my gosh.
Not even the ones that will like literally cause incredible damage and possibly kill you. There are ones that will just fuck up your day.
Right. And be very itchy and unpleasant things like that.
I have a side question. I know there's a reader's guide. Did you look at it? Because I did not.
I did not. I okay. That stuff. So
I was like, I don't know if I want to read. Like, I want to let this be a little bit crazier. Also, it's fucking long. It's 12 questions.
Yeah, that's a lot. So and I'm assuming, of course, for book club stuff. But yeah.
No, we're better than that. We can do this.
Heck,
we can do this on our own.
Look, we can analyze this use a condom, please sex without the help of the questions. Yeah.
And it's very fast. So I have the physical book, as I've mentioned, because I'm a book slut. We're just going to put it out there. I'm a book slut. So it's $2.59, then give it to me, Rowan.
Right.
Which I said incorrectly, because the next descriptor is I demand high pitched and strained, which I did not do. So that's
I mean, is that what it's supposed to sound like?
I don't know. Like, number one, my voice is not high pitched, so it's never going to be that. But like a higher register, and I'm not a voice actor. I'm like, give it. So nope, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend.
No, I will.
Pay people good money to do that shit.
You could have done it this way. Then give it to me, Rowan. Rowan. What is his name? Rowan. Oh my God. I'm calling him Roman or something. Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. Speaking of guys named Rowan, you need to read Butcher and Blackbird if you love cannibalism.
Oh, I will do that.
It's so good.
I will absolutely do that. Good. Oh, I finally found the sex scene. I'm here now. Yay.
Which one? Oh, the actual sex scene.
The actual sex scene.
So it's $2.59, then give it to me, Rowan. And the sex scene finishes on $2.61. So it's incredibly like Sephie's face.
Look, we used to write a lot longer smut than that.
That's what I'm saying. It's very lightly spiced. So that is that is the sex scene of this book. Not like 2 full pages, maybe.
Yes.
Not even because he doesn't even penetrate her until 260.
Well, this is true.
Though I think he gave her oral sex before that. So good job.
Yes. That's actually, I had skipped that paragraph accidentally. And then all of a sudden I was wondering why he was talking about his mouth. Oh, we're using our mouth there, not our hand.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. We rocked against each other harder and faster. My arms locked around his neck and teeth sunk into his shoulder. What? Okay, all right. Okay. So we're kinky. Cool.
That is not kink. Sephie will tell you there's
Look,
there's no negotiation. That's just someone who likes a little gnawing action.
All right. I am not going to yuck anyone's yum. I've been known to bite here and there as well. Anyway, okay, so both of us moving with that intuitive rhythm, like our bodies recognized each other's in a way neither of us could have predicted. Like everything we'd ever said or done with each other had been part of some prescient prelude. The groundwork laid for this aching, stunning perfection. Okay.
That is the description of the actual sex, because the next sentence is, we came within breathless seconds of each other. That's it.
That is absolutely it. And okay, we're not being too descriptive on it, but this is another thing that I kind of feel like, look, why are we writing sex like this? It's not always like, oh, hey, this was perfect. There's a lot of other things that happen there, right? Like, oh, move your leg, or oh my God, what was that? Or oops, or stuff like that.
How am I getting it? How am I getting mine? Like,
exactly. Yes. So
yes.
I mean, and I know that's the point, right? It's a romance novel. It's supposed to be idealized, but I was just like...
It doesn't have to be this lightly described, though. Honestly, I loved their makeout.
Yes.
I know that they're drunk, but I love their drunken makeout at the bar, after the bar. I thought that was so passionate and so fun. Oh, the line, he skimmed his thumb down my cheek with an achingly light touch, only a graze, before letting it hover right beside my mouth, because it makes me want to kiss that look right the fuck off your perfect little face. Dare you to try, I whisper, throwing all my noble intentions straight into the fire. I loved it. I loved the description of their makeout. We didn't kiss so much as collide with intent. And like, number one, I've done that when I'm drunk, but number two, I've done that when like I need to stick my mouth on someone else's mouth. Like, if you have never felt that kind of chemistry, I feel bad for you. But like, when your next breath has to be with that person against your mouth.
Being kissed like fan fiction.
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I would say romance novels because I've never read fan fiction.
Oh, no, okay, Seph, you have got to give her some of that shit we used to write. It was you still have it. She still has it. She still has it. And she was one of the best.
I love that.
Dead ass. She was one of the best. So
good friend. Good friend. Okay, so let's move beyond the lightly spiced situation that we're in. What are things that you liked in this book?
So
we haven't already talked about.
Right, that we haven't already. I don't just the thing I think I liked best about it was kind of the world building that happened, right? Like I've read a bunch of witch series and some were just like, oh, I'm a witch and I run a cafe. It's just stuff like that. And you have no backstory, you have no anything to it. But these are really rich. Like the Avramov home, their domain, as they called it, it's called the Bitters. And so it has like this whole story of the ghosts and all this stuff that goes on in the Bitters. And then, the other families have the same kind of thing. And they each have their own thing and their way to make money. Like the Avramovs run this witch emporium that all the tourists go to, right? And then they do a haunted house every year. And I just thought that was really interesting, the way that she built it like that. I really enjoyed that kind of storytelling and kind of weaving things together.
I agree. I think, and having read Payback's a Witch, I think I have a deeper appreciation for the sitting in of the magic that we get in this book. In the previous book, it's all about this, not all about, but primarily about the contest and fucking up the ex-boyfriend. And we get to see the magic at its most magical, at its most epic, as these witches compete to win this series of trials. No one's gonna die though. This isn't like
nope. Nothing like that.
No one's gonna die. But in this one, we get a deeper understanding of who these witches are as families when they're just existing in their normal routine. Yes, the attacks are outside the norm, but Beltane is their ritual. Their businesses are their ritual. We get to see the haunted house that Issa runs. We get to visit the orchard and the restaurant and celebrate all that they do. So it just adds another layer of complexity to this world that was created in the first novel.
And she really leans into that too. I think as far as plot points and things like that go, I really enjoyed it. Like, it's been a while since I've read any kind of, really since Harry Potter that I can think of another that kind of witchcraft type series that is very much seeped in, it's a world to kind of live in. And I did enjoy that. You don't get quite that same world building in any of the other of the books, the witchy books that I've read. And I'm sure that there are plenty out there that are, very well built, but I really did enjoy this one for that. So
I think the fact that it takes place in its own witchy town is something that is deliciously unique. So a book like Go Hex Yourself, which I read a while ago, which is a great witchy book.
It is, yeah.
Exists in our world amongst the city, and it's mostly in the witchy community, but it doesn't feel separate. Even like the discovery of witches takes place in the human world, even though there's lots of stuff going on. So to have this little microcosm of witchy love was nice, and it got more complex with this book. And I do wonder if it will get what we'll get to see with the rest of. Have you read any of the other ones?
I have. I don't remember what order they go in. I had started. Now I will say I did not finish one of them because I ran out of time.
So let me take my mic with me because they are in order, because I'm a nerd like that.
No, that's so good.
Spell In Charm's Way and Rise and Divine.
I think I read back in a spell, and then I got to In Charm's Way, and I wasn't able to finish it because I ran out of time. But yeah, and what they do, and I kind of see it as like an anthology kind of piece more than like sequels, because it's just kind of rotating around to different people in the town who they've talked about before and in the different families. And like, I want to say, I don't remember if it's the third or the fourth one that focuses on the Blackmore family. And I never liked them all the way through. I was like, oh, well, you're the assholes, right?
Right.
But you get a bit more of an appreciation for them once you get to that book. I have not read the newest one. I have not gotten my hands on it yet.
That is fine. If y'all didn't live in Texas, you could borrow my books.
Believe me, I don't want to live in Texas either.
Shocks me every fucking day. Shocks me every fucking day.
It's the worst.
The fact that I'm like, the people that I know who are in Texas and Florida, and like, why did you choose that place? I don't understand.
I did not. And now I'm stuck, unfortunately. But
I know. Sephie knows I'm going to Smut Lovers, a conference in 2 weeks, and we're going to a dungeon we're going to Orlando, this conference, and we're going to the local dungeon. I'm like, I'm so sorry that you're in Orlando. Like, that you're in Florida. And I love that even in Florida, there's kinksters making it work.
Of course.
But I would get the fuck out.
Yes. And I'm sure, I hear stories of swingers around where we live, but I don't know if that's true or not. Okay. I'm getting looked at by, she's like, well, me. Okay.
You're not a swinger.
That's what I was saying. I don't feel like she's polyamorous. Polyamorous.
I feel like swinging is a very specific type of polyamory. It's a
male, female, male, female kind of. Oh, well, I guess
typically,
you can have. Yeah, typically,
but it's a couple who engages in sex with other couples who are engaging in sex. It's not really dating.
Right.
As far like in that culture. Is it possible that you could also do other things? Absolutely. But swinging, I think, is really that, though I believe it's evolved further than the keys in a fishbowl.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And now it's the pineapple, right? Upside down pineapple. Yeah.
I know.
Don't ask me how I know that.
Because it's part of pop culture. I thought
I'm
about
totally
cross-stitching
kidding.
an upside down pineapple to like hide in the bookshelf. But
Oh,
it's
that's a
like,
good idea.
yeah, but it's like a social thing. I'm like, is it real? Because pineapples mean like a couple different things. And I'm like, oh God, do I really want to have that mistake? So from bad to cursed, worth the read.
100%.
100%. I think so. If you're looking for spice, as we've talked about, no, thank you. It's not going to be a spicy book. It's not slow burn because they make out before 50% of the way through the book, but their second intimate moment, we didn't even talk about that. They are interrupted. They are interrupted. So it starts, there's some there's some heavy petting, and then Rowan is almost killed by a curse. So what a way to go.
That's definitely a damper on the situation.
Definitely puts a damper on the situation. Absolutely valid reason for no one to have an orgasm. But this is a nice story. It's fun if you're looking for a witchy read. If y'all have your own favorite witchy reads as we head into spooky season, put it in the comments. You can head to the website or wherever you're listening to this podcast, or even email me at jace@jacereadsromance.com.
Can I plug some of them?
I was about to say, do you have a list right now, or do you want me to add some that you can think of to the show notes? No, we got them right now. They'll also be in the show notes.
I came prepared for this part.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the first, well, I guess this probably was the first official witchy cozy fiction, and this one actually is cozy. I want to say there's maybe a kiss or something in here, but like it's like negative spice level, right? But it's cozy. It's called The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. It's by Sangu Mandana, and we had talked about possibly covering this one because Sangu Mandana is a person of color, and we wanted an author who is a person of color. But this one has, like I said, negative spice. Like it's like we put salt on our food kind of spice. Nothing beyond that. The other one that I abso-freaking-lutely loved called Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches. And I want to say the author's name is Kate Skelsa. I am not entirely sure.
It will be in the show notes.
Fantastic. But this one I absolutely adored. It is a queer young adult novel. It's got the witch stuff mixed in, and they also do a beautiful job of adding in tarot cards, which I don't use them, but I will occasionally read them as like a conduit to what I'm thinking in my subconscious. And so I very much enjoyed Improbable Magic for Cynical Witches. That one was excellent.
I love that. I will think of some of my favorite witchy ones as well to add, spiced or not. Meg Cabot came out with one that is lightly spiced because it's Meg fucking Cabot, and then Go Hex Yourself was super fun.
Go Hex Yourself is good. That's a good little series.
That is a good little. I haven't read the rest of them, but I should, because I feel like the next one is a Grumpy Sunshine, and I do love a Grumpy Sunshine.
It is a Grumpy Sunshine.
I remember the setup for it, and I went, "Ooh, that's fun. That sounds really cool."
It's cute. I really like it.
Now I'm trying to remember if there's anything else on my shelf that's witchy that I've read. I don't. Have you read the Legends and Lattes yet?
Yes, those are fantastic.
I've heard great things. They're up there.
Yes, Legends and Lattes, they are fantastic for cozy fiction. Another one, if you're looking for another witch, this one, it's 10 books long or maybe more. It's the Butter Witch series.
Okay.
So, Butter Witch, yes.
Another one I have is I don't know if this is cozy, but you can't. Oh, Honey Witch. I just got Honey Witch, which is supposed to be like the cozy witch read of the season. Came out over the summer. And
we also forgot Slewfoot. If you want to go the more direction that's not like happy, Slewfoot is amazing.
Okay, then.
By Brom. Absolutely incredible. So good.
All right. I just want there to be like more fucking.
There is no fucking in Slewfoot, I will say.
Sephie and I recorded, you can keep this because episode is coming out after, but Sephie and I recorded the wrap-up episode this morning, and at the end of it, she was like, how many books did you read with no spice? I'm like, too many.
No, you gotta have some fucking, unless it's cannibal fiction or literature. In that case, please no fucking. Though, you know what? When I was a kid, there was a cannibal, it was a cannibal sex story. Like they were both dead. They were zombies. It was zombie cannibal sex. It was part of an anthology. And I don't remember what's it. We'll put it in the show notes. We're going to find it. And
we'll put it in the show notes.
I was reading that shit at 11 years old.
You have to read Butcher and Blackbird. You'll fucking die.
Is that the second one? Is that the second?
No, Leather and Lark is the second one.
I was looking at Butcher and Blackbird. Okay, if it's good, I'm going to get it then.
It's so unbelievably good. It's so unbelievable.
I'm going to check that one out. I had read about that one.
I do warn you, if you do Leather and Lark, it's a very different tone. Not bad, but don't expect it to be the same kind of tone.
Okay. That's a good warning. I like that warning.
Are we done? Did we finish? Did we achieve everything? Oh my God, no, the 5 questions. Because you are a new guest. This is actually the first time we've done a book episode with someone who's never been on the podcast before. Look at you. You're so
I'm excited.
Fancy.
This is very excited.
Okay. So here at Jace Reads Romance, I have 5 questions that I like to ask all of my guests. And the first one is, what is your favorite romance novel?
Okay. Well, I have not read a ton of them.
Doesn't matter.
I guess I am going to have, I have a movie, but that's not really. Okay.
Doesn't count.
I don't have a book though. I would probably just have to say, I would just go with Payback the Witch because I don't have really any others. Like I'm brand new for romance pretty much. So
I love that though. I love that this is your gateway drug into romance. Yeah. And I feel like PNR might be good for you. Like, is it only witches, or do you just like the fact that it's magic in our world? Because
if it has a little bit of something different, like ghosts or any kind of like ESP or anything like that, I'm into it. So I like that. Mm-hmm. Now, right. I tried to do a Court of Thorn and Roses.
No, don't stop. Okay. Don't even that. Honestly,
I'm glad you feel this way because my husband reads them and I call him, that's his fairy porn, and he's happy with his fairy porn. I don't know.
He has bad taste. I hope he listens. Taste, and I have better recommendations. If he's looking for fantasy porn, I have better recommendations for him.
I will bring this up to him because I make fun of him all the time because I've heard that they're not very good. So
no, they're not. I made it. The first one is terrible. The second one is better. But the fact that I had to sit through the first book to get to the second book, I'm mad. I shouldn't have to sit through a trash book for you to hit your fucking stride.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I've heard the same thing. So
yeah, don't. Oh yeah, I have better for him. And then you can read it together. Nah, but okay, where/how do you prefer to read?
So we're sitting in my office right now and I have a circular chair that has many and much assorted pillows and blankets and things on it. It's quite large, so it's easy to curl up in. I like reading there. I think that's my favorite place. Lots of pillows.
A physical book or an e-reader or audiobooks?
So for me, it kind of depends on the day. Since I have, medical, I have rheumatoid arthritis. And so I can't always hold a book very well, especially if it's a large one. So e-reader, like I'll use my Kindle for that. Also, I'm an impatient bitch. And so if I want to read something right now and I can get it right now, I'm going to read it on the e-reader. Yeah. So, yeah. But I do love the smell of a paper book.
There's nothing like holding a physical book in your hand. So here at Jace Reads Romance, there's this concept we have called comfy sexy. And it's that in your comfiest space, physically, mentally, you can also explore your most sensual self. What does the phrase comfy sexy bring up for you?
Well, I think that's something that I'm probably still in the process of kind of developing, just because for so long I was a very devout religious person, right? And, y'all don't talk about sex when you're raised in the church. And it's just not something that's discussed. And I feel like if more people were able to discuss this kind of thing more freely, which is one of the reasons I definitely wanted to do the podcast, it wouldn't have been such a big deal. And I would not be figuring this out about myself at 45. I do think that it is worth the time to take that kind of exploration so you can feel comfy with that. And again, well, I think, the right partner obviously is important as well. So you have to have somebody that you can be that kind of vulnerable with, right? And that's my soapbox, right? Teach sex ed. Normalize sex. Normalize sex.
Oh my gosh, we're going to get to your soapbox thing. Don't you worry.
Oh, good.
So follow-up question, and the answer might be, I don't know, it's not a follow-up question. It's the next question on my list is, when do you feel your sexiest?
I would say this is something I struggle with, so I'm not sure all the time, but, and it sounds probably like counterintuitive, but probably when I'm out doing something I enjoy. So I kayak and I hike, and in Texas, that means I'm sweaty a good portion of the time. I'm also sunburnt and freckled a good portion of the time. And that's that kind of thing when I'm out doing the things I enjoy, or when I'm doing a yoga class and my body is working and stuff. That's when I feel powerful and strong and sexy.
I love that. Yes. So the final question is, what is the one thing that you want women to know about sex and sexuality? Your soapbox thing, basically.
Okay. So like I said, we're going to hop back to, I'm an ex-Mormon. And Mormons are, you should have seen the face that Jace just made. Everybody's laughing. It's true. I was a very devout Mormon.
I'm like, I'm going to have an entire episode with all the people I know who are Mormon and helping break that with romance novels, because you are not alone.
Oh, for sure. And actually writing smut with Sephie was one of my exits out of it. Because all of a sudden there's this whole world open to, because I was reading some of this shit that she was writing. She's a kinky bitch. Okay. So I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, I've not heard of this. And then I ended up doing that same kind of shit myself in my own smut. But I
thought you were about to say in my own life. And I was like,
in my own life. There's that too, right? But no, she's laughing at me now. I do think that if we could make that more of an open dialogue, and of course there's lots of reasons it's not open. Of course, we were founded by Puritans, so we have a lot of Puritan value, which is unfortunate because we also have a very high teen pregnancy rate because we won't talk about sex. We also don't talk about things like, hey, I'm on the pill. Are you good with it? No, you need a fucking condom. Get a goddamn condom if you don't know this guy, right?
Even if you do know this guy,
you do, right?
Condom. If there's one thing I can say to like teenage boys, or like, it doesn't feel as good, but you'll last longer and your girl will have better sex with you if you're wearing a condom.
Holy Lord, yes. I cannot stand that. It's disgusting how patriarchal of a society we have. And as a result of that, we have women who end up in situations where they wouldn't ordinarily be in, be it either from an unwanted pregnancy, an unplanned pregnancy, to just being in some kind of vanilla marriage when there's some kind of raging freak like Sephie over here, right? I'm totally kidding when I say that. I'm making fun of her because she's my best friend. I love her.
She's very open about her raging freakness.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm just teasing her. But I do think that, and especially with the availability of the internet now, you can find people who are like, oh, hey, I'm into that too. And I'm not a bad person, quote unquote, even though the church would tell me I am. But you can explore those kinds of things. And I think the literature aspect is a big part of it, because if you have that kind of stuff to read, you have that kind of stuff to mull over and be like, oh, hey, maybe just missionary sex just for the purpose of reproduction. There's more to life than that, right? So, yeah.
Oh, it's such a good fucking soapbox.
Yes. I will get it all day, every day.
All day, day. Thank you so much, Devon, for joining us here and being voluntold to be here.
No, it has been absolutely a pleasure, and I'm so glad I got to do it, even though I was voluntold originally, yes.
So if you were really excited to find Devon and be friends with her on social media, Sorry, she's not on social media. But if you have questions for Devon and you'd like to send them to me, I might just bring her back for a follow-up episode. That is fine. Thank you so much for joining us, for being here, for suggesting this book. I had almost forgotten about Payback's a Witch. No offense, because it's been almost a year. Like, no offense to Payback's a Witch, but like, there's been a lot. Dark December happened between when I read Payback's a Witch and right now. So most of 2023, it was like a wash from that. Sephie knows. Sephie knows.
She's nodding.
She was like, it was a dark time for us all. But thank you so much. I will let y'all know what our next book club pick is. I appreciate y'all waiting, and I hope that you enjoy this book and Payback's a Witch and maybe all of the other books in this series in spooky season.
Yes.
Bye.
That's it for today, y'all. This has been a 3 Paws Productions podcast. Our producer is Sephie. Michael Achenbach is our patient editor. Our theme song is written and performed by Diana Weishauer. You can find show notes and so much more at jacereadsromance.com. That's JAYCE Reads Romance. Follow along on TikTok and Instagram at Jace Reads Romance. If you'd like to ask a question or share a story for the podcast, call and leave a message at 661-JACE-RR. That's 661-529-2377. Or send an email to jace@jacereadsromance.com. Finally, like and subscribe so you can get every episode when they drop. You can also leave us a review to help others find us. And remember, this is Jace holding space for you.